The new law aims to cut down on reckless riding and also make things safer for younger e-bike operators.
This piece of legislation is designed to try to help people from hurting themselves.
All right, so another day, more e-bike laws and regulations we have to talk about, now with Honolulu. So it's nothing new with e-bike laws and regulations when it comes to just basically nationwide from California, San Francisco, New York, Florida, Chicago, and so on. But it seems like a lot of these cities and states are following suit, basically following exactly what the other ones are doing to the T. And as you hear what you are going to hear in today's video here with the different news segments, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. All of this language sounds so familiar. Let me break down this video.
Part of Bill 52 would require all e-bike riders under the age of 18 to wear a helmet, because along with the increase in people riding e-bikes, there's been a big increase in e-bike accidents all across Oahu.
You know, one a day, almost one a day, 348 calls in 2024. We're on track to have that again this year.
The measure, signed into law by Honolulu's mayor, would also prohibit reckless bike behavior by requiring riders to stay in their seats and keep both wheels on the ground.
All right, so there's a lot to unpack there, and starting with the 348 calls in 2024, which I'll circle back to as we get further in this news segment, because I do have a point about that. I do believe that a lot of those calls aren't just riding on a bike path, running another cyclist, and there's an injury. I think it gets a little bit bigger than that. Let's talk about the helmets. In my personal opinion, I think all riders should wear a helmet. It's not required in every single state, but it should be a requirement in my own personal opinion. When it comes to motorcycles, at least in my area, you have to have the helmet on the bike somewhere, and you also have to wear eye protection. I'm not saying that's what they should do here with electric bikes, but at the end of the day, I think you should stay well protected, especially when you're riding in traffic. Now, when it comes to trying to combat some type of bad behavior with wheelie riders on the roads and stuff like that, I think these laws won't matter. If somebody wants to do a wheelie and ride in traffic and not stay on two wheels, they're going to do it. All laws really do is restrict the people that are already paying attention to the laws to begin with.
People have been doing wheelies since bicycles were first invented, but it seems like the last couple years it's gotten worse. And I think part of it is these really high-powered electric devices really make that more possible.
This bill also gives a specific definition of e-bikes, which have to be 750 watts or less. Anything above that is considered an electric motorcycle or scooter and requires a driver's license, registration, insurance, and safety checks.
All right, so he's not wrong right there. Basically, since the beginning of the bicycle, people have been doing wheelies, and it's nothing that's going to change there. Now, are there going to be people that do it recklessly? Absolutely, but I don't think that people that just want to ride from point A to point B or do it for recreational purposes should have to be basically the ones suffering the consequences. Follow the laws, and if you don't follow the laws that are already out there when it comes to the rules of the road, you should be cited. And basically, the police should be the ones basically doing their job and upholding the law. Then the next point that they make is the bill is requiring that the bike has to be 750 watts or less. And we talked about this previously in a different segment, which I'll link that video in the description below and up at the top card. But basically, I was talking about how anything that has 750 watts but has the potential to be unlocked means that that bike is illegal to the accordance of the law. Because at the end of the day, in the writing itself, the language itself, it says if the bike is able to be unlocked and has the potential to be unlocked, it means that it is illegal. But if it has the max output of 750 watts, it is legal. There's a lot of different gray areas with this, so this can be pretty confusing. I think it's going to take more than 2025 to pass for there to be some type of real structure when it comes to electric bike laws.
The things you're seeing doing the wheelies, driving recklessly, those are not e-bikes. Right, those are electric motorcycles, electric dirt bikes. They actually fall under a different category.
Honolulu police say they will not add additional patrols for e-bike violations, but will now be able to cite e-bike riders who don't follow this new law, and will continue to cite electric motorcycles and scooter riders who are also reckless, in the hopes it will make our streets safer.
But we've got to have some rules here before we end up with more fatalities than we want.
I mean, that last statement right there is pretty stupid in my opinion.
But we've got to have some rules here before we end up with more fatalities than we want.
No, people should just follow the existing rules of the road, rules of the trail, and the cops should already have been enforcing the rules of the road on cyclists. At least where I'm from, you're not allowed to just go through a red light. You have to yield to traffic. Now, I don't know if that's like it is where you are. Definitely comment below, let me know your thoughts on that. I do think that this is just a murky area when it comes to e-bike laws and making it a lot harder for just everyday people, whether getting from point A to point B, recreational riders, just taking their bike to the park. Having to register, if a state makes you register the bike, means that you'll either have to register the serial number or there'll have to be some type of VIN number with the bike. And then how does that registration work? Do you have to take it to the DMV and then you have to do a brake test, an acceleration test? There's a lot of really, really weird unknowns. So basically the exact same story from another news place. Let's watch this one.
As the use of e-bikes grows, so do the injuries. A new law in place on Oahu aims to make our streets safer. Alina Lee reports.
The signing of a new bill aims to better regulate e-bike use and keep people out of hospitals.
You think it's a lot of fun until you end up in the emergency room. You think it's a lot of fun until your parents find out you got killed. So this piece of legislation is designed to try to help people from hurting themselves.
Really better defining the electric bikes we see out there and the things that aren't electric bikes. I think that's really the point we saw today.
E-bikes exceeding 750 watts are now prohibited from operating on public streets, highways, alleys, paths, or trails on Oahu.
It's an electric version of a gas-powered car. Basically letting them ride the surron, you're letting them ride a motorcycle. I mean, these things go over, can go 50 miles per hour or more. They're very dangerous.
All right, so let's break that down a little bit. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of the people doing wheelies in traffic, stunting. There's a time and a place for that. The time isn't in the road. The place isn't in the road. You want to find a private property, some type of parking lot. Businesses usually won't mess with you. If you're in their parking lot doing wheelies, having fun. I mean, I come from a BMX background, and there would be countless nights I'd be out there from like midnight to 3 a.m. just trying to learn different tricks, do the longest manuals, 180s, 360s, and so on. And business owners didn't mess with me. They knew that I was just staying out of trouble, not damaging anything. But if I went in the middle of a road, right, and I'm riding my BMX bike in the middle of the road, and I'm like, I'm gonna do a 180 over this yellow line, and there's cars going around, you guys probably wouldn't be surprised if I got hit by a car. That's not to say that I want those things to happen. There's also another story that happened recently where basically somebody was doing wheelies, and this happened in the UK, I believe. They were doing wheelies in the middle of the road, and a driver got really angry and wanted to retaliate and wanted to, quote, teach him a lesson. So he ended up ramming him, not once but twice, killing him, knocking him off the bike. He hit his head on some type of concrete post and died. Sad story, and you don't want to see that type of stuff happen. People make really stupid decisions, not just the person doing wheelies in the middle of the road, but also the person that wants to retaliate and try to kill somebody because they don't like what they're doing.
The new law says anyone under 18 must wear a helmet when riding an e-bike.
Hammers, wear helmets. That's going to be the new tagline. I wanted to make sure I got it 100% right.
While people may still get injured, with a helmet, you're protecting the brain, you're protecting against future disability and death if the mishap were to occur.
Riders must keep both wheels on the ground, sit properly on the seat, and avoid reckless maneuvers.
The officers had to take risk assessments into account, right? Like, are they going to do the traffic stop or possibly even get into a pursuit, a high populated area? So for our enforcement, and we'll just continue doing what we have been doing.
Honolulu EMS responded to 348 e-bike incidents and crashes in 2024.
That comes out to just about one a day. And so far in 2025, we're on the same track. The injuries we see, not only do they include fractures, chest and abdominal injuries, but they also include critical facial and head injuries, and that have also been unfortunately fatal.
Officials hope the new law will prevent needless injuries. Alina Lee, KHON 2 News, working for Hawaii.
When it comes to the e-bike laws and regulations and licensing, I've said this time and time again, there is a place for some type of a law, but I think we should basically work on the laws that we already have. Stop at stop signs, yield at yield signs, obey traffic laws, stay off sidewalks with electric bikes, don't intimidate people, don't intimidate other motorists, and I think everything would just work out fine. And the cops should enforce the laws that are already out there. If you see somebody on a motorcycle, most cops, they see somebody doing a wheelie, they have the choice to pursue, just like you said there. And I have a video, which I'm gonna put up on the screen now, where a police officer, I don't think he was pursuing based on wheelies. I think these people were thieves, but the police officer rammed the back of the surron or whatever bike that they had, knocked him right off the bike. The other person fled and that other person got caught.
A former police officer has been cleared of knocking 2 men off an electric motorbike in order to protect life. Tim Bradshaw told Portsmouth Crown Court he believed he was justified in nudging the bike with the bumper of his vehicle to stop a pursuit. He was found not guilty of causing serious injury by dangerous driving.
But the thing is, when they're pursuing like that, because somebody's doing wheelies, one or two things can happen. If they ram them like that, the police officer could accidentally kill them and it becomes an issue. And the kids don't really know what they're getting into. They think it's fun, a game of like cat and mouse, you know? They don't actually know what's gonna happen when they get caught, until they get caught, or until they get killed. E-bike laws and regulations, let's get back to this. It's my personal belief that there should be some type of law implemented when it comes to helmets, that's for sure. When it comes to licensing, I don't think so. Maybe education. Now there are different ways to educate yourself when it comes to electric bikes, and there are tons of bike shops that have electric bikes. I think I would encourage you to go to these electric bike shops or just regular bike shops that have these bikes and basically ask one of these, mechanics or salesmen to walk you through the process. What's the easiest way to get on this bike? How do I stay in control? Is this going to be regulated down the road? Is it 750 watts? Is it under? These are my thoughts on this, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Are we getting that much closer to real laws and regulations in this country? Is it going to get worse? Or are we somehow going to find some type of middle ground? In my area, I'm trying to talk to the legislators to see what I can do in my area, and I think you should do it in yours as well. Feel free to drop a comment here or DM me on Instagram of any of the stories you find out like this or what's going on in your area. So if you like this video, drop a like. If you love it, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one.